Jodi Hildebrand pleads guilty to 4 counts of felony child abuse.
6 aggravated child abuse charges against Connections Classroom founder Jodi Hildebrand, and she will be going to prison. She pled guilty this morning.
Yeah, prosecutors say she received very similar deal to her former business partner, Ruby Franke.
We have team coverage for you tonight. Jake Taylor is looking through the charging documents, but we want to start with Paul Nelson. He is live in St. George with a look at the key differences in these deals offered to Franke and Hildebrand. Paul?
Well, in the deal that was offered to Ruby Franke, the Washington County Attorney's Office agreed to stay neutral during her upcoming parole hearings. And in exchange, she would testify against Jodi Hildebrand. But prosecutors did not offer to stay neutral when Hildebrand comes up for parole.
Aggravated child abuse, a second-degree felony.
Guilty.
And to count 3, aggravated child abuse, a second-degree felony.
Guilty.
Jodi Hildebrand didn't make any extra statements in court, just pleading guilty to 4 of the 6 charges against her and confirming to Judge John Walton that she understood the agreement she was making. Inside the courtroom were Allison Sink Mars and Aubrey Carter, who said they grew up watching the 8 Passengers channel on YouTube. Sink Mars says they didn't know how abusive Franke and Hildebrand had become.
I think it's really hard to watch them plead guilty because had they not been caught, what would have happened and where would those kids be now?
Outside the courthouse, Hildebrand's attorney, Douglas Terry, said she decided to plead guilty before her former business partner, Ruby Franke, made a deal to help the prosecution.
It is her main concern at this point that these children can heal, both physically and emotionally.
Washington County Attorney Eric Clark explained why they didn't press for her to plead guilty to all 6 felony charges.
If our plea offer had been there is no plea offer, plead straight up to all 6, then the defendant has no incentive to go to trial. And we're not afraid of trials. We don't want to avoid trials. Trials carry some risk in that you don't know what the outcome's going to be.
But because prosecutors decided not to remain neutral during Hildebrand's parole hearings, the door is open for them to participate in those hearings and recommend that she stay behind bars.
More commonly, the prosecutor's office can submit a letter or submit things in addition to the pre-sentence investigation done by adult probation and parole.
Now, prosecutors also did not want to comment on who they felt was the more culpable party, either Franke or Hildebrand, until after sentencing. And Hildebrand's sentencing is scheduled February 20th. Reporting live, Paul.
So, life coach and former licensed counselor Jodi Hildebrand is scheduled for a waiver hearing today in the felony child abuse case shared with former business partner and friend Ruby Franke. Franke agreed to testify against Hildebrand as part of a plea deal she took the week before. The hearing began at 11 o'clock, exactly on schedule, and was over in fewer than 5 minutes.